All right, y'all. Since some of you guys follow my posts, I never do videos of some of the stuff that I find, but I wanted to do one on these items. I got all of these out of one locker. There were some World War II items in a storage locker in Royce City, but it was really off 276 close to Quinlan. And I think some of these items belong to a family member there, but wanted to show you kind of what I found. So these three items are the same thing. They are called gravity knives. Now, German paratroopers in World War II would have these as part of their pack, and if they had to bail out of the plane with their parachute, this was a gravity knife so that they could quite literally use gravity to get the blade out. And if they did, then you would basically be able to cut the strings off in the event that they got hung in a tree. They didn't have to rely on a spring or a flip knife or anything like that, and they could cut away the string and get out of a tree, or just have this for survival, basically. It also had this little spike thing over here. I'm not really sure what that's for, maybe for just combat. But literally it uses gravity. There's a little spring, you push this in, and it goes in like so, and then it's hard to do it with one hand, but basically it locks in place. So what makes this knife special is it appears that this one was recovered by either a US or a British troop over in Europe. And so this one could quite frankly have been gotten off of a dead Nazi soldier who parachuted out of an airplane. And you can see here that he carved in the names of the places where he served. So England, Germany, Belgium, France, Scotland, and of course Holland. And the fact that he carved England on there would suggest to me that this was probably a US troop, because I can't imagine a British troop you know, carving in his homeland on there if he did battle there. But very interesting piece. It's even got his initials on here, or perhaps where he was from. You know, could be abbreviation for Arizona or the guy's name. So chances are with a letter A and a letter Z, that's probably an Italian person by descent. You know, typically you don't see too many Z last names unless it's like Zilio or something like this. And who knows, maybe his first name was Anthony. There's no way of knowing. But this one has been used, and it's got some stains on it. Not saying that's Nazi blood, probably rust, but it has definitely been used and seen better days, but definitely a historical item. Now, I also have a metal one. I'm not really sure what's going on with this one. It's probably far more modern for the German military, and it actually has 81 on there, so I think this is from the early 80s. But these for sure from World War II. Now, this knife these are both very rare. This knife runs somewhere between $500 and $750, depending on what kind of condition it's in. And this one's actually in really good condition. This one is special, and nobody can really seem to pin a value on this. I have reached out to some experts, and because of the fact that it was clearly recovered by what's likely a U.S. soldier, and he carved the places where he did battle or that he served. This is definitely a World War II knife. Definitely came from a Nazi soldier who was a paratrooper. Very likely, but no way of knowing, recovered off of a German soldier. Maybe, he just picked it up off the ground, or there was a dead soldier that jumped out of an airplane and got shot or blown up. But in either case, he recovered this knife and carved the places that he went in battle. So this was definitely a battle-tested soldier, and was all over Europe serving in World War II. Now, this particular item is completely different from a different era. This is a real cannon. This is called a swivel cannon. And I've gotten these before and actually dealt with Sean Rich, who was one of the Pawn Stars arms experts that used to be on the show. And he personally purchased 5 of these off of me the last time that I had them. Now, this particular one is somewhere from the late 1700s to the early 1800s. Looks like somebody's done some work to it, which is stupid, but basically how you can tell the real ones from the fake ones is the bore. And this one has some rifling in the bore, so it's definitely a real cannon. Now, it could be a reproduction, but more often than not, these are real, believe it or not, just because you can tell by their use and by their patina. It does have the little spot for you to put a fuse where you can light the powder. It is usable. And what they would use these little cannons for is typically against pirates. So this would be more than likely on a merchant ship, and they would switch these from one side of the ship to the other, and they could grab it and run with it and go to the other side of the ship. Now, I'm sure these were hot after they were fired. And then they had a little swivel that they could put these on and aim them up and down, and also rotate them side to side. So this is really like the first rifle, if you really want to think about it, in a certain sense, because it was mobile, it was aimable, and you could use it very quickly and change directions very quickly, and was pretty accurate. I mean, you know, these were for people that were on a ship, you know, 50 to 100 yards away, so you had a good chance that you were able to hit them. So these typically run about $200 to $300. They're not very expensive for antique cannons, but very heavy, probably about 2 pounds, solid brass. And so there's some history for you on some stuff that I find. This is the best part of what I do. And if you're interested in these two items, they are available for sale, as is this one, but don't expect to get these too cheap. So there's an interesting lesson for the day.